Hello, welcome to the 24th episode of the SaintsPrime Podcast with me, Ollie.
Harry.
Jamie.
Mikey.
There we go,
Hey.
awesome. Fluid as always.
First time.
Should we go into questions?
Sure.
Yeah.
So
What
we
questions?
will go for Tom_Perry233, and I guess this is a reaction from the Aston Villa game because he said, "Why did we sell Matt Target?"
Oh, I did say
Oh, right, okay. I was a bit confused then. Yeah, I got
to
it.
buy a very clinical striker called Che Adams.
Yeah, that's true. We went up striker to sell target.
Matt Target scored more goals than Che Adams this season.
Right.
That's it. I did that.
It's a good point, but if we wanted a striker, we had to get someone out. And the money
Yeah.
that Aston Villa offered seemed too good to turn down. So that's probably why, in my opinion anyway. Your guys' thoughts?
Well,
Literally, I made my point. I'm sticking to it. Mikey?
I don't know why we got rid of Matt Target because we don't really have a backup to Bertrand. But
Vote.
You would have said Vokins, wouldn't you?
yeah.
yeah,
I
but
know
he's
he's injured,
currently
but-
injured and not playing for the under-23.
Sam McQueen. He's also
Who's injured? And
Hmm.
out for the next 9 months. Not a left back.
he is now.
Yeah.
But-
I don't know. But no, the money. To be fair, when we sold him, the money was very good for what he offered us at the time.
Yeah.
And I'm happy for him that he's actually getting his chance at Villa because
Mhm.
I think he
Yeah.
could be a very good left back in the future. He
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
is very difficult to knock off Ryan Bertrand at the moment. Well, not at the moment, but what he has been doing in
Yeah.
a couple of years.
Yeah.
True. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. I think it's just our fans are very reactionary in terms of as soon as a player that we sort of sold, well, we did sell, sort of did something good, they're like, right, it's a disgrace that we sold him, even though we were really, really happy when we sold him because of the money. So why do we sell him at Target? Because we do have a backup. It's just, it's not that fit at the moment, but Bertrand's good enough. So we've got now 4 questions from Dan Hurst at 96. The first one. Do you agree Ralph is a reactive and not proactive manager in his substitutions?
Ooh, very good question.
That's
Dan.
actually a good question. Is he reactive instead of proactive? I think he believes very much in his own system and tries to give it as much time as possible. I think most of the time he tries to stick to a game plan. So if that game plan's not working, it's almost... But I think sometimes he does need to admit that if it's not working, change it. Sometimes I think he believes that it's going to turn around, but by the time 70 or so minutes before he's making his substitution, by that time, the system's not working. It needs to be changed. So that's quite difficult, actually. What's your guys' thoughts?
Against Wolves, he tried to be proactive when he bought on Boufal. And he tried to make it the most attacking lineup we could possibly put out there with Ward-Prowse at right wing back, going a bit more attacking than Valerie.
Yeah.
And then he was reactive in the sense that he realised that Ward-Prowse is not a right wing back, and we were getting done down that left hand side, so he stuck Dancer on.
But we'll cover the...
So
Which is quite a reactional substitution.
it's a reactive substitution, but I don't think that it's a bad thing being reactive. Like, if a situation's not going well, you change it. That's the reaction that you do. Like, I think that's fine.
And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going badly. If you're playing well, you don't really need to be proactive. You just need to keep monitoring the situation. And, if you're playing well and then you're reactive to a change, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just a different part of management, I guess.
I couldn't agree more.
Oh, brilliant.
Next question.
An interesting thing.
Oh.
Sorry, an interesting thing that I saw from the game though was when the fans started singing "Boof Out." It was about 30 seconds later he got brought on. So it might have been coincidental, but I thought that was interesting as well.
Sometimes you see players warm up and getting ready to put their clothes on to get on the substitution.
Yeah.
The fans normally sing their name to encourage him when they're about to come on the pitch. That's probably what happened.
Jamie, if you were there, you would have seen that he wasn't, and it was only when he was taking off his... He was there singing, and then he took off his tracksuit.
To be honest, Harry, I don't really think it was that like the fans sung it, and then Ralph went, "Oh my God, yes, I'll get Booth out."
No,
It was
I don't
probably
even.
the fans and the manager both
not
wanted a
you
bit of
say
creativity in
that.
that game.
Classic Tizza.
I'm not
That's
too sure.
borderline,
I wouldn't be. I
you know,
wouldn't be
comment
surprised
from
because
Mikey, to be fair.
Ollie, he was
A lot
there.
of-
We can't disagree with him.
I
He
mean,
was
I
at the
watched
game.
the game. but I guess
that's
it's
just not what I said.
completely
I said you made a dig at what I said, so then I responded.
different.
That
Okay.
salt I tasted in the air. Next
Right,
question
carry on,
now,
next
Harry.
question. There you go. Second attempt, Jamie. Right. Okay.
Such a strange individual.
Sorry,
Next
go on.
question from Dan Hurst again. I think having Prowse on just set piece is a waste of a position and a man on the pitch.
Wait, he says what? Getting Ward-Prowse on just for set pieces.
I think having Prowse on just set pieces is a waste of a position and a man on the pitch. So he
get what he's
believes
saying.
that Ward-Prowse is only on for set pieces.
I wouldn't agree with that because the run of form is in last season, like towards the end, was excellent, and that's made everyone's expectations in St Mary's things. Oh, he has to be like this every game now. Just when it's a bit of a bad run of form, everyone's turned against him. They forget
But
how he
what I'd say
saved
is,
us last season
if
with like 5 goals in a few games.
yeah, I get what you're
And so
saying, but
it was
oh,
like he had at top
no.
where realistically not every player apart from Ronaldo and Messi are going to be consistently amazing. And it's trying to compare it to him.
yeah, I
Shane
guess.
Long.
And Shane
But
Long.
the thing is, I think Ward-Prowse gets a little bit more leeway because he's
Sounds
a so-called set piece specialist. But you know, you look at Che Adams, who doesn't score for 2 or 3 games, and he hasn't played in the last couple just because he hasn't got a couple of goals. Whereas Ward-Prowse has been in midfield. I don't think he's been on a good run of form, but he's still, you know, instead of coming off the pitch, he gets forced into right wing back, which is obviously not his position, and it clearly didn't work. But then he's still got moved 2 times in that game to accommodate him, even though I didn't really think he had a good game. But it seems Ralph wanted to keep him in and keep moving him around to keep him in the team. When really, I think if he's not working, take him off. And I think we said it last week. Let's see Armstrong in that position. He came off the back of a good international break, full of confidence. We know he's good at changing the game attacking wise. He did
And
it
he
against.
can take set pieces.
Yeah, he can.
Yeah.
What was the game that he came on? The Tottenham game at home. He came on. He was more direct, through balls, and really got that team going in midfield. Arguably, Ward-Prowse did well in that game to score the free kick, but I think Armstrong gives you that direct attacking approach that sometimes you don't get. Anyone else's thoughts?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. But I like what you were saying, Ollie, and going against what Jamie was saying. I don't think any player should be undroppable. And you're basing our selection this season off of what he did last season. I don't quite think that's correct.
All right, fair enough. I like how you contradict my point.
Okay.
Right, so
Discussion.
the next one. Let's have a look. We've got always play like we have 10 men on. When should we drop for Prowse? So would you say this game? Would you say should get dropped this game? One word, because otherwise we've literally just said this point in a different way.
Do it quickly then. I think Ward-Prowse is one of Ralph's favourites because I think statistically he looks quite good. So, like the sports scientists with Mikey will see on their iPads that he does a lot of running and a lot of active sprints and things like that. But I think actually affecting the game, if you take all the stats away, I just don't think he really changes that game that much. I mean, against Wolves, I kind of forgot he was on the pitch until about 70 minutes when he took a corner. Like, if I'm actually forgetting players are on the pitch, it's kind of like, I don't know. I just feel like they're not really affecting the game that much.
Thing is, it depends what role Ralph wants them in there as. Because what it looked like, especially in pre-season, I know that's going a while back, but it looked like that Højbjerg and Ward-Prowse were literally bounce boards in that system, where we have 2 or 3 in midfield. It looks like that their job is not to be the creative spark; it's just to play the ball wide and be engines in there and press. So it depends what Ralph actually wants him to do. Because if it is just the running around pressing, then giving it to a creative player like Redmond or Boufal, then he's doing his job quite well. But if he's supposed to be creating, doing the long passes, dictating tempo, stuff like that, then he's not. No. So it just depends what Ralph wants him to do in the role in the team.
I was looking at his heat map after the game because I was quite interested in what his kind of effect was on the game. And it looked like from the heat map that he was a lot to do with on the right hand side. So I don't know whether we were doing a 5-2-3 or Ward-Prowse and Redmond were meant to be behind him a little bit and almost like a 5-2-2-1 maybe. But I assume you'd use the width with the two, Redmond and Ward-Prowse. But I've said it time and time again, I don't think Ward-Prowse should be in the middle in the hole or sometimes come to the right for a good cross. But actually, in play, I don't think he's got enough pace or skill to beat his man. And I think his crossing in game, not on a dead ball, isn't actually that good. So I think on the right, he does get lost in games, and he didn't really work as a right wing back either. So yeah, I can kind of see how he got lost, whereas Redmond was a lot more direct on the left. Sorry, Jamie, go on.
First of all, you should even do it quick.
Yeah.
But I had a little thing I was going to say. I think it's a
Right,
perfect chance for Armstrong to come in and take over from what Prowse is going against a very attacking Leicester side here. So why not go get something attacking versus attacking and bring on the creative player that is Armstrong, change that game up. Because right now in modern football, 84% of people think Leicester are going to win and 12% think Southampton are.
Yeah.
So right now it's perfect opportunity to change up the team, get things rolling.
Yeah.
See if Armstrong can be that man Hughes thought he was when we're buying the club.
Would you put him in the 4-2-2? I know we'll carry on later on and talk about our Leicester formation, and things like that. But quickly, would you put Armstrong in the 4-2-2?
We play the 2-7-2. That
What?
They'll get the reference.
What, the Thiago Motta?
Yeah.
Appointed as the manager.
Played 2-7-2 formation. Why not try that out?
No, but seriously, where would you actually play
I think I would slot him in that formation. The 2-3. What? 3-2-2.
4-2-3-5.
Right, Jamie, basically, what you've got to do, you've got to forget the goalkeeper and you've got to get the numbers they have up to 10.
Yeah, no, he wants to play 2 in goal.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so you'd play him 2-2-2, what, on the right-hand side?
Yeah, I would actually get him behind Redmond, give it overlapping play, maybe.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Right. So, any other questions, Harry?
We have got once again from Dan Hurst here. Are Leicester a one-man team who scores? Obviously Vardy's talking about who scores, who does score the goals when he doesn't.
Tielemans,
punctuation.
James Maddison.
Yeah.
Jamie's just listing off as many Leicester players as he can remember.
I got nothing there. Tielemans and Maddison have had a great season so far. I think Leicester all round are a brilliant team. I hate to say I think we're going to win this game because they're in terrific form as it is. And they're just playing great.
They are a good team. Tielemans got a goal against Burnley, didn't he?
I genuinely think they'll finish top 4 this season.
You think they finished top 4?
The management called it.
Wow. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not happened just yet.
No, but you know,
I'm
always right.
To be fair.
So Vardy's got 6 goals this season, and then the goals are kind of spread out after that. So Vardy obviously is their number one attacking outlet, but it's not like it's dry afterwards. They've got 2 goals from Pereira, who's playing at wing back. Tielemans has got 2, Maddison's got 2, and Ndidi's got 2, and then a couple 1 goals there. So there's goals all around that team. So I don't think that they're necessarily a one-man team. It's just a lot of goals come from a very on-form Vardy.
Although they only have 3 registered strikers in their scores, surprisingly.
Who's the other 2?
Iheanacho and Ajonze Perez.
Perez. Perez had a good.
Newcastle, isn't he?
He had a good run at the end of the season.
Spain.
I think 3 on target there, so the issue with him.
He didn't really have a great start to the season. Obviously, they're looking for maybe another striking outlet instead of Vardy, but they've kind of moved into more of a winger position, which I don't know how that works. But obviously, they're in good form and he's in the starting 11, so he must be playing somewhat well. So yeah, is that all the questions, Harry?
Apparently, I don't have a view.
All right, that's all right. Go on then.
Classic tears are getting
I was just going to say that I think the comment that he put was after Brendan Rodgers' frustrated figure after their 2-1 victory, because he said that they always seem to count on just the same players, so like Vardy and Tielemans, and they're not getting enough support from out wide. So I think that's where that comment comes from. So I think the only position they're really sort of weak on is outside on the flanks. Right. The final question, Ollie _SFC. Who do you play up front against Leicester?
Oh, go on, Mikey.
Last
Do the
20 minutes,
inevitable.
I'll play Jamie
No, I
Vardy.
wouldn't.
Do it. Go on.
Well, he's got quite a good goal scoring record against Leicester, doesn't he, Shane Long? Doesn't he? Like, always managed to get a goal.
Mikey, that classic.
You've got to stick with Ings. Like, you can't change from him because he's in the form of, well, I wouldn't say the form of his life, but he's in top form at the moment. So, but it's just about trying. I'd like to see us create a goal against Leicester. I wouldn't because a lot of our goals have come from forcing mistake, which is brilliant in the way that we play. But I'd like to see us actually try and create something instead of just relying on the other team making a mistake.
Alrighty, yeah. Jamie, I kind of cut you off to talk to Mikey, but carry on. What was your thinking?
I'm not sure. To be honest, like I said, it's gonna be a tough game. Overall.
Fantastic.
So I'm very optimistic about this game.
Yeah, but the question was the striker.
Yeah, who do you want to play up front?
You're trying to buy some time.
Should we talk to a goal then, Harry? Who would you put up front?
I'd probably keep it similar. When Mikey said that Ings is in the form of his life, he sort of is, because I don't think he's ever scored in 4 games back to back before. So that is the form of his life. And I don't know if I'd bring Che Adams back in. Obviously, Gineppo's injured for the game, so he can't play. So I'd probably in the attacking lineup, I'd probably stick with the same system.
Okay. Wait, so that system being what, 5 at the back?
Yeah, and then with Resmond and sort of Ward-Prowse playing maybe on that right hand side, maybe Boufal. Okay. But I think against Leicester they've got good defending fullbacks. So I think Boufal would struggle.
Yeah, Chilwell and Pereira. But there are 2 centre backs for. We'll cover this when we get to Leicester. But do you reckon Ings will have a tough game against the Leicester centre backs, or do you reckon he can get a bit of joy there?
I wouldn't say personally. As he thrives against top teams, I personally say. Yeah. He looks out for the mistakes they make, and that's he pounces. It doesn't matter who Ings is playing. To be honest, it doesn't really matter who Ings is playing against. He always gets chances. He looks out for those mistakes and he pounces.
Yeah. I think the one problem is that Leicester have got quite comfortable centre backs. They're quite comfortable on the ball. Especially, I don't know his name. They're the new bloke they got at centre back who's with Evans.
The guy that's like Prince Charming.
What, Calgar Soyuncu that they got in the
last I think he's quite comfortable on the ball. I've seen him do some Cruyff turns in his own box and stuff like that. Reminds me of an informed actor. But yeah.
I don't do Cruyff turns.
They're obviously you go for nutmegs. But obviously they're quite comfortable. So it'd be interesting to see. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, on about like the 12th attempt.
Okay.
Still works.
But I think it'd be interesting to see if their pressing style can still cause goals through that. Because if they are comfortable on the ball, will they give as many chances away? We're not sure. Okay, so that's all the questions done, is it? Any other thoughts for anyone on that point? Or
Wesley Hoyt did Cruyff turns, and that's how well it went.
Yeah. Okay. Right, so we've done our questions. Should we have a look at the Wolves game? Obviously, we had 2 correspondents out there. Had
yes.
It was so worth it.
Not quite. It was good fun. What do you mean in that sort of?
A 6-hour car journey up to Derby. That was not fun.
That's depressing.
Okay, Mikey, you're gonna watch Wolverhampton, not Derby, mate. What are you driving there for?
I was thinking the same joke, but I didn't say it because.
Okay.
But it was. I thought it was a good game, and the train up there and back wasn't any delays, so that was quite nice.
Right. So if we go over,
you asked
that was the best thing about the game.
The best thing about the game, the train.
No, I was just giving as I was talking to you about yesterday off the podcast. I like giving descriptive commentary
And that was
over
why the
what I see.
podcast lasts for an hour.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm
Half
going
it
to
just
go
is on
I'm going to go
chatting
into
S-words.
overall impressions. Did you listen or anything, Jamie? Were you able to, or was it just the highlights that you watched?
I've watched the highlights and watched
Highlights,
the two
okay.
amazing goals we disallowed, and I laughed very much.
Yeah, so I'll kind of aim this more at Mikey and Tiz, who are there. What were your kind of overall impressions of the game?
We
I-
throughout throughout the entire game, we
Mhm.
looked quite solid defensively. Wolves didn't really trouble us. We had 2 VAR incidences and the penalty, and apart from that, there
Yeah.
really wasn't much else that Wolves did. I
Mhm.
can't really remember, but it was interesting coming out the game because, like, Southampton supporters seemed to come out of it and go, "Oh yeah, no, we'll take a point. Wolves probably deserve to win,
Yeah.
and we'll take a point." And then I looked on Wolves' Twitter, and they said that they played awful and that they got lucky with a point, and that
Yeah.
we deserve to win. It's just a very interesting chase of, like, both fans are quite negative towards the performance.
Mm.
Wow.
Okay.
I have some statistics for you all.
There we go.
about
Sato
game.
Jamie.
Statman Jamie.
We had, in fact, 14 shots compared to their 4. As a whole,
Wow.
10 more for
There
you
you
lot out there.
Oh, that GCSE
However,
maths is coming in
maths.
useful, isn't it?
They were quite lucky, in fact. They had 1 shot on target, and
Yeah.
that was a goal.
Mhm.
However,
That was a
compared to our
penalty.
5,
Yeah.
compared to our 5 shots on target, it's pretty successful.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'd say we were robbed a win.
Well, okay.
Not quite.
I
Based
can-
on the
Harry,
Harry,
any overall
statistics alone,
impressions?
Tizard. If you know and watch the highlights,
Well,
that is see,
Jamie,
we were robbed.
just stop talking for a
Stop
second, all
talking,
right? Thank you
Harry.
very much.
I think it was a fair result because even though we had 5 shots on target, only one of them really challenged Patricio, and that was either the Ward-Prowse free kick and the goal.
Yeah,
So
that's good too. Yeah.
the other 3, nothing really happened, and Højbjerg blasted one over the top. Not blasted, just curled one over the top. So that wasn't too much of a fuss, but it wasn't blasted because he hit it with the inside of his foot, and it just
Yeah,
went.
but do you know how
slowly
far it
across.
went?
Yeah, it was pretty hard to be fair.
Yeah, fair enough.
Højbjerg
And,
kind of tapping.
Wolves, even though they only had 1 shot on target, they were unlucky in the 2 shots, the few shots that didn't count on the statistics because it was off of VAR.
Yeah.
So I think a very balanced game, to be honest, and I think a point's probably a fair result overall.
Okay. No, so I was watching it on TV or just on a stream. So I didn't really see probably as in person. Sometimes it comes off a little bit differently, but I kind of wrote down a couple of things that I saw. I don't know if you guys noticed it, but Wolves used the width of the pitch really well. I thought when they were in possession, I think the wing backs really tucked on the sidelines. I don't know whether it's the style of pitch or just the way they play, but I thought they kind of really stretched us wide to try and create space. I've kind of thought as well. There's a lot of long balls between, but I think we kind of did the thing again that we've kind of been seeing away from home, where we would use a long ball to obviously reset, but to start the pressing again. So
Yeah.
using the long ball almost as a I'm not quite sure the word is, but or as a start to start pressing, because obviously if an opposition
Defending from the front.
yeah, but it's almost like a signal. So the manager, if the opposition does a long ball, I know Ralph's talked about a long ball will be the start of pressing, but it's almost like we started that signal ourselves. So we would put a long ball almost for us to battle, or if we lose it, then we can press higher up the pitch. So I kind of noticed we fell into that again, which necessarily isn't a bad thing. But yeah, I think Wolves didn't really trouble us too much in their transition. It was really a direct ball that went to Jimenez and individual skill that kind of caused close chances, which were called off by VAR. But you've got to still call them chances, haven't you? You know, like they got called off, but they were very close in it.
But they didn't count in the end, though.
Sorry, but it was very small margins that had to be picked up by VAR.
It was still ruled out on me.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, no, the first one wasn't because the linesman did call the handball.
Exactly.
So,
but
There's only one
it showed that
VAR.
Wolves did have the potential. I know they didn't count because they were against the rules, but they still showed they had class there to get into those positions in the first place. But yeah, apart from that, the final thing that I kind of noticed was our formation. Obviously, with 5 at the back, you do sacrifice that possession in midfield. I just thought when we're defending, I don't know if you guys noticed it, it looked like the wingers tucked in to kind of create almost four in midfield. So when we broke away, Ward-Prowse and Redmond would split wide, but that extra centre-back kind of meant we lost an attacking playmaker in the middle, because I think Højbjerg and Romeu would build up that play. But I think by having an extra defender, we kind of lost that attacking outlet. So maybe if we had someone in that position like Armstrong, and we're comfortable enough to put four at the back, possibly we could have someone who could be more of an outlet, more of an attacking player to release the width down the wing or find the striker a little bit more. I don't know whether that's just because there's sacrifice of five at the back, but yeah, it's kind of my overall thoughts of the game.
Yes, I thought the long ball caught us out for the first disallowed goal, and I can't remember Vestergaard being caught out by it again, or like the entire back five being caught out of it by again. I think that was the one long ball, and then Vestergaard sort of dropped off or marked Jimenez a bit more, and he looked a little bit more solid. The second VAR goal was Benrek and Yoshida miscommunicating. They both sort of stepped towards the ball and they stepped away from the ball, and they didn't really talk to each other and didn't command it.
No.
And then that created the space for them to run on for it.
Yeah. And then I think there was a rebound from Gunn that possibly could have been pushed in a. I don't know. I think it's a kind of.
I think it's a good save, but he
pushed it back into.
He
the
doesn't.
Play.
Well, no, he didn't push it out. He tried to push it wide, but I think there was just such like little pace on the shot that when he did push it, there was no momentum of that ball. It was just him pushing it. Yeah. So it didn't go as far as it probably could have.
Should have, yeah.
If the shot was a little bit better. So if the shot was better, Gunn would have made a better save, and that ball would have gone out for a throw-in. But because it was just so weak that I don't think Gunn was expecting.
You can't criticise the idea. It was the right idea. It just didn't really come off, did it? I guess it was kind of hoping maybe a bit of the pace coming out of the ball a little bit.
Yeah. However, would you say the penalty was justified?
I mean, we've not even got to the
chronological order.
Just let us go through the game.
Overall pressure. Start the game. Like I said, I think we kind of set in a 5-2-3. Would that be the best way to describe it, or 5-2-1? That kind of formation is the way that I kind of saw it. Again, not much of a attacking outlets there, but it did a job. Valerie picks up an early yellow card.
No surprise.
It was quite a rash challenge. Do you guys remember? Yeah, I think it was early in the game.
I remember thinking it was quite high. And I remember Harry turning to me and saying that's a bit unfortunate because it was his first challenge.
Yeah.
So, the challenge, we were on the opposite side of the pitch, but the challenge still looked quite rough from like our end. So I thought it probably was a yellow, but I don't know. I never watched it back.
Yeah, okay. And then early injury for Wolves. It'd be quite interesting to see how they would think that game would kind of what was the what you're laughing at.
It was Redmond literally sat him down and he went off after that.
Yeah.
It was quite a funny instant that 20 minutes in he went up with cramp because he couldn't keep up with Redmond.
Yeah.
And in turn that substitution brought on Vallejo, and he's the one who made the mistake for the resulting goal.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, that did, and you kind of think maybe that early change in centre back kind of changed their tactics.
It was tactic all along.
Yeah, maybe. But that's got to make a bit of change. And then I can't really. But then was it Jimenez chance next? I think I don't know. That was around 30 minutes. I think I'm not too sure.
30 minutes.
Was that around there? I might have to have a look, but I'm just trying to remember. I think it was early in the first half, was it? Or did we already get? No, we went 1-0 down. That it got called off.
I believe that's the Jimenez chance. Just thinking of, because I can't remember writing about another Jimenez chance in the.
Yeah, I think so. Well, he had 2 goals called off, didn't he? And the penalty was the final one he scored. But yeah, I think it was around 30 minutes the first one came in. I'll just check quickly, but yeah, I believe it was. So it was called as handball, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Now, what was you guys? Did you think that was a harsh handball, or do you reckon it was?
No, it's pretty clear.
Handball's handball when it leads to a goal. If it hits his hands, where accidental or not, if it controls it or not, it still counts.
It's still disrupting. It's always disrupting play.
Of course, the new handball rule coming in as well. Instead of this
Do you
silhouette,
agree with that, or what's your opinions on that? By the
what's
way?
that on the new handball rule?
I'm not too sure if I'm happy with that.
I think there should have been a little bit of leeway with that. Not with the Jimenez one, but I think the thing with the handball is if you clearly cannot control it and you can't move your arm or something, or it's into your body, I don't necessarily think that's your fault. But if it's not your fault, if you haven't done it intentionally, I don't really think you should be criticised on that much. But if it's like leading to a chance, or it's definitely moving towards a goal scoring opportunity, I think that's when the leeway kind of comes off, because it's gaining an advantage. So that's my kind of take on it. But it was called a handball. So where was that? That was around half time. I'm just kind of looking through. We kind of got into the first half, and nothing really came into it. Was it 0-0 at half time? Is that am I correct in saying
because
that?
their second goal got disallowed, and it was quite interesting. I think it took 2.5 minutes, and none of the not to what I remember, none of the Southampton players called it for offside. Wanted it to be offside in terms of they didn't say it was.
While waiting for that, I know a lot of people criticised
We all thought it was a goal because it wasn't until they got to the halfway line it then said VAR check. So the Wolves fans to our left were very impressed with their 1-0 leads. They thought at the time, and showed it to us, which was rather nice of them. But it took 2.5 minutes. None of our players called it because they didn't think it was offside because they didn't know where it would have been offside because it was only fractional words.
Yeah,
and it was about 20 to 30 seconds before the goal. So it's sure.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And then we went into half time it being 0-0 after 2 disallowed goals. We make a
VAR
good start, I think. Coming out of the half, we look good. Obviously, Danny Ings got his goal from Wolves being sloppy around the back, getting like we have, pouncing on chances.
Fantastic header from Højbjerg.
Yeah. But yeah, it's I think it's good that the pressing tactics coming off. I'm still a little bit hesitant that hopefully the pressing isn't our only way of scoring goals, and like Mikey said earlier, there is another way hopefully to try and pick up some chances, and it's not just through the pressing. But it's nice to see that we're still getting goals from it. The net until we've got a goal on 52 minutes, and then we've got this. Should we go straight to the penalty because it kind of went?
Yes. Was it a penalty? Yes or no? Harry first.
Do we not even? We didn't even really cover the Danny Ings goal, but
it's pretty. We covered it earlier.
What else do you want to kind of say?
Well, I was just going to say when it went through, Connor Cody's accidental handball sort of set up for Danny Ings because it drove the ball lower straight to his feet rather than bouncing up. But that's what I was going to say on that point. And I thought he finished it well. He shielded the ball away from Ollie very well, who's quite a bit bigger than him, and stuck it away well, and there's a good knee slide as well.
Yeah, he put
a good knee slide.
Kept going.
Yeah. Okay. Anyone else? Any thoughts on the goal?
Shane Long would have finished it as well.
Going to say. Anyway, their goal, their penalty. Jamie was really wanting to say it earlier, so we'll give him the first. Give him the first opinion.
It was a tough one, I think. I think the ref got the decision right in the end. However, it's annoying because I think we could have held out the win, but if it wasn't for that penalty. But is on the verge, in my opinion. But I think he got the right decision in the end.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think the motion is he kicked. Was it Doherty who got fouled?
Yeah, Doherty.
Yeah. So I think Doherty kicked Højbjerg instead of Højbjerg kicking Doherty. But the problem is that Højbjerg's leg is there to be kicked. So it's one of the ones. If the ref gave it, then VAR was not going to overturn it. But if the ref didn't give it, VAR was not going to overturn it. It's one of the close ones that you just
subjective
don't.
ones.
Yeah, you don't know, and it was going to be like given or
not. You can argue both for and against, can't you? But I think it was almost we were kind of punished for being not indecisive, but not strong in the challenges, making a definitive answer. There was a couple players around him, let him go past. Højbjerg's kind of dilly-dallying around him, which in the end means that Doherty's shot is impeded by Højbjerg's foot. It's not necessarily an active challenge that's caused the penalty, but by not being decisive for either showing him wide or getting in close, that kind of half measure has really cost the penalty. So I'm not too frustrated with it. I'm more frustrated with the challenges and the decisiveness of the actual challenges there, not necessarily the penalty call.
Thing is, there were so many people in that box as well that I think five of our players could have taken him down. I think a couple of Wolves players could have taken him down as well. Like it was so crowded in there that there was going to be like some sort of contact, and it was just whether the ref was going to give it or not. So that was the main thing. And he stuck it away well as well. I don't like the stupid skip. Like the penalties, like the stupid little jump before that Jorginho and Jimenez both do, and it really annoys me, and I think it should get banned because I swear, like the stutter got banned.
It has to be.
They're still moving though. They're still moving.
It has to be.
I don't care.
Because you don't like it, you want it banned.
Yeah,
you don't
it's
like
got apparently it's got to be continuous motion forward. So the idea that Balotelli would stop is illegal and gaining advantage. However, they would argue that while they're still in the air, they're still moving forward, and it's a workaround of the fainted penalty. So yeah, there you go.
Stupid.
But okay, so there's any kind of build up towards the end of the game. Obviously, it's 1-1. What was your kind of final thoughts? Because we'll try and wrap it up towards the Leicester game, so we can have a little look at that. What was your kind of final?
I didn't think they were going to score.
I'll have a look.
As much as like they probably put in quite a few crosses into the box, we dealt with them all right.
I thought Vestergaard was very good defensively from crosses in that game.
Yeah,
because I thought
he always got his head on it.
Yeah, I think when it's coming across sideways, he can really use his dominance in the air to kind of get that.
Finally, using his height to his advantage.
Well, I think he's always been good at corner clearances and corner clearances from crosses. I just think it's when it's coming straight on, it's more of a direct, and he's got to kind of win that aerial battle with a striker either behind him or in front of him. That kind of aerial duel that he's not quite good at. Whereas when
I don't think it's that. I think it's just his positioning that he gets caught out sometimes when like a ball over the top or something like that. Like he just gets caught out because of his pace and the fact that it probably takes him a second longer to turn around than most other players. So I think that's the reason why. That's the only thing that I can think of. Like because he gets a lot of stick from Southampton fans, but like he gets caught out one way, and the problem is if they target, like I can see Leicester targeting Vardy to sit on Vestergaard and just running behind him constantly.
Yeah,
and but if he has a performance like United where he cut out Rashford, then he can cut out Vardy on Friday night.
Yeah.
But it's whether he is fully concentrated for the 90 minutes or not. It's like Yoshida took a couple of years to actually get fully up with it and concentrating in the Premier League. So it might take Vestergaard a couple of years. But I think he's still a very good centre-back and we should keep with him and not let him go.
You talked about the Leicester game there. Just before we jump on to the Leicester game, we've got that final kind of 20 minutes. So we did a couple of substitutions. And apart from those, any other kind of thoughts on the kind of substitutions in those last 20 minutes of the game?
It was just weird, the substitutions, because he took Romeo off he took Valerie off for Boufal and started Ward-Prowse at right back.
Right wing
and
back,
then when it wasn't working,
I think Jota
he panicked
came
and went
on the left, didn't he? And was really dangerous down that left. So he obviously pulled it. There you go. Earlier link to earlier. Reactive and saw that Ward-Prowse at right wing back didn't work, so put him back in midfield. And then Danso comes out wide and Ward-Prowse fills Romeo's position in CDM, which obviously, Mikey, you said you'd quite like to see Ward-Prowse in that CDM role. Anything there that interests you? I know he didn't have much time, about 15 minutes, but
Yeah, no. Problem was we didn't have a lot of the ball for the last 10 minutes or so. So there wasn't. I think we accepted a point with 15 minutes to go, and we were fine with coming away with a point, and that's sort of how we played for the rest of the game. We didn't really create a lot after 10, 15 minutes.
And also
I would have liked to see either Shay Adams or Shane Long come on up top for the last 10 minutes or so, just to add a bit more of an outlet, because Ings did well with some of the headers, but Long can probably win a lot more headers than Danny Ings can up top, and just delay Wolves playing a little bit more.
Would you take off a centre back? Who would come off for that substitution?
I would have just taken Ings off. Because Ings looked puffed by the 80th minute. And also you don't want him to get injured. So I would have just... He did his job well, and I would have just taken him off.
We didn't use all three of our subs, to be fair, even if it's just 5 minutes, so Shane Long could close at the back, provide an outlet. I think that's quite a good shout, actually. Harry, I was going to ask you about Buffal, just about the fact that the fans were calling for him to come on for the final 15 minutes. In my view, I think he didn't really get involved in the game that much. But how did he fare between the idea of that creativity coming off and him not being on the pitch? How did that balance come for you?
I think it was the right decision. I don't think they took the right man off. I think they should have taken Ward-Prowse off. But I do think it was the right decision, because he is our most creative player on the bench. And the problem is, and we definitely heard from the fans behind us as well, when he lost the ball, he didn't really track back. No. He didn't do what Ward-Prowse was doing on that right attacking midfield role, track back and help the team defend as much. He did win us a free kick that James Ward-Prowse was unlucky with, that Patricio saved. Lois was left, that might have hit the post anyway. But I don't think he had that much of an impact, and I don't think him or... I think if they put Stuart Armstrong instead, for example, I don't think there would have been much difference in the chances that we had.
I think the thing is with Buffal, he's got clear class, and the fact that if one of those 40-yard passes or that skill when he turns him twice comes off, there's a goal there. But the thing is, none of those went right. And I think also he kind of slipped into Buffal of old. We didn't see that pressing style. We kind of... Maybe it's because he didn't come into the game. He just got thrown on with the game and kind of went into his natural idea of just walking and not pressing. Maybe when he starts, he gets more of that kind of alertness. But yeah, I kind of think he slipped into Buffal of old and didn't really affect the game that much. But yeah, that's
I think... Sorry, I'd say if you come off the bench, I think that's when you have to have that sort of impact in terms of your work rates more than anything else. Because if you want to start the next week, you got to show in the 15 minutes that you're on why you deserve to have started in the first place. And I don't, with his work rates, I don't quite think that was the case. Yeah, he did all right here and there, but I wasn't really that impressed. And I don't think the fans that day were that much either. So.
No. Okay, so I'm just a bit aware of time. So, any other kind of final thoughts on the Wolves game, or nothing really? No?
Not really, no.
Alrighty, so quickly look at Leicester then. I don't really want to do a full analysis of the team, because it seems like we do that every week, but kind of 4 at the back is that what we're kind of thinking against Leicester, or would you like to see 5 at the back for security?
To be fair, I would stick with the lineup that played against Wolves, because I don't think they did badly. Only conceded a penalty, and that's the only thing that they scored on. Didn't really threaten us throughout the game, apart from the 2 VAR goals. I thought we played well last Saturday.
Yeah.
And I would happily see the same team start again.
Yeah. It'd be good to have a bit of chemistry between that 5 at the back, have a full solid team that played as a 5 together again. So I think the one decision we kind of talked a little bit earlier, would you like to see Armstrong for Ward-Prowse, or do you think Ward-Prowse will stay?
I think Ward-Prowse will stay. It's going to be difficult for Armstrong to get into the midfield, because obviously Højbjerg's the captain, Romeu's the rock, and Ward-Prowse is like Ralph's favourite. Yeah. That's what Ward-Prowse always seems to get that role recently, like under Puel, Pellegrino, and Hughes. That he's just the lad that everyone likes.
Yeah.
So I think he'll stay. Yeah, no, not the two lads behind him.
That's what I like him, but not from
got spat on quite a bit.
Yeah, so we've
A
got
lot of yelling.
Yeah. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we get the same sort of team. Is there any particular parts of the Leicester lineup or their attacking game that you feel could be an issue for the game on Saturday?
It's just the amount of
Friday,
bodies they
even.
get forward.
Yeah.
They
wing backs.
They really commit players forward, and like if there was one change I would make to the side, it would bring Shay Adams in for Ward-Prowse, because we could with the players that they get forward, they only leave Ndidi sit. Well, Ndidi sits sometimes, but not all the times, and they've got the two centre backs. So if we can have a break of Ings, Adams, and Redmond, that would be incredibly scary for Leicester, and that might force their fullbacks back, so they're less effective. So I would find that interesting, but I don't think it will happen. And I think Shay Adams, one of Adams, Long, or Booth off the bench will be just as effective with starting them. So,
okay, yeah. Any wishes, just as a kind of final thing, unless you've got any other
wish to win.
Wish to win. Yeah, okay. Wish to win. Okay, so but anything else, Harry? Anything like that you kind of wish to see like that?
I wanted Danso last week, but because of our defensive performance last week, because Darcy, but because of our solidity, apart from the 2 goals that are disallowed, and I think I'm happy to keep the normal back 5. I'm pretty happy to keep the back 5 that we have at the moment. I'm not too fussed. As much as I do want Stuart Armstrong to start, at some point, I'm happy to keep Ward-Prowse in there because I don't think he had as much of a bad game as the 2 lads behind us said he did. So, but if we do take off a right back, make it Ward-Prowse, don't make it Valerie. That's my one request, and be more reactive with substitutions. Do it earlier. That's my only sort of thing. That's the thing every week that I say, and then it doesn't happen, and then I say it the next week.
Yeah.
So maybe we should just stop saying it then.
Okay.
I've said every week that Shane Long will score a hat trick, so maybe that's not the wish.
Okay. Right. So should we do predictions? Is there any predictions you have for the game? Just like final score.
Ward-Prowse will at some point play at right wing back.
Okay. What's the scores? Do you reckon? Guys, Harry first.
I predicted 1-1 last week in the unbiased shoot, and it paid off. So I'm going to try and be unbiased this week and say that we're going to win 2-1.
2-1. Okay. Perfect. Jamie, what do you reckon?
2-0 Leicester.
2-0 Leicester. Oh, okay.
Oh, that's depressing.
So we're going to end our scoring streak. We're going to lose 2-0, and we're probably going to go into the relegation zone. Fantastic. Right, okay. Ollie.
I'm going to keep it upbeat. My heart's saying I reckon we could get a 2-2. I think.
That's just depressing.
Against the Champions League, team in the Champions League spot, on red hot form, we've come off the back of a foundation block against Wolves. I reckon we can get a couple goals at home. I reckon a 2-2 would be a reasonable score. Obviously, I could be an optimist and say it's going to be a 3-1, but I reckon we could see a 2-2. I don't want to predict a loss. I reckon we could see a 2-2.
I think it'll be 2-1 because we won't stop Vardy. Vardy will get a goal, but yeah, Shane Long double off the bench and
Okay, right.
Fantastic.
Is there anything else, or should we kind of leave it there for this week?
I don't think there's too much else. I think we've covered pretty much everything.
I don't want to talk about fantasy. An absolute shocker on fantasy, so I'm happy not to talk about it. Should we have a quick little see who's first at the moment and kind of move on?
I didn't have a great week, to be fair.
I got 41 points, so I got 4 above average, but it was a really low scoring week this week. So I'll have a look and see who is top. So I'm 14th in the league. Andy Turner, 510 points. 517 actually. Number 1 in the SaintsPrime Fantasy League. So well done to him. I don't know who got the most amount in the actual league, but it looks very score. I'm seeing a lot of 20s, 30s, 40s, couple of 50s, but not many. So obviously a low scoring week for most people. Any other fantasy things, or you kind of want to keep?
I've not looked at it yet. To be fair, I think I got like 30 points last week because Salah didn't play. So I think someone came off the bench and got me like 2 points.
Jamie,
so.
you went for a bold triple captain. Did it pay off?
I got 6 points, so you take that as you will.
Well, okay.
Which one did you? Was it Aubameyang or Abraham? What one did you go for?
Abraham.
Okay.
You went big, but to be fair, it looked like quite a good fixture. I thought he was going to get something, but unfortunately,
The two turn up for big games. That's the
okay. All right. Well,
triple captain Shane Long will be playing.
I haven't got anything more to say. Have you guys got anything?
Nope.
No?
Mikey is good at football and will score more goals to go past it this season.
Thank you very much, mate. Thanks for the
vote. We'll go for the socials. Harry, how can they get in touch?
So we'll be on Instagram, SaintsPrime. I release the questions, and also when this podcast gets released, I'm going to also set a poll to see if you'd rather have these on Fridays or you'd rather have these on Mondays.
Oh, that's nice, actually.
So
you have been thinking about it because it gives you more time to listen to them before the game. So I think it'd be a good idea. But
crazy idea.
Yeah. See if you can get in touch. Tell us what you'd like. But then we also got Twitter as well. Be alert.
SaintsPrime Pods.
Yeah, if you stick on notifications, you'll get a notification when, as soon as we put the podcast live. It'll be early Fridays, but it could change to Monday. So if you want to keep on that and know the schedule, know when everything's happening, then have a look on the Twitter. Apart from that, I think that's everything else, isn't it? Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
Okay. So it's been me, Ollie,
Harry.
Jamie.
No.
Look at that. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.